back, guys. I'm here again. We got our kombucha that I'm drinking right now because I want to keep that gut healthy. But what I'm going to show you all today is how to prepare your rice for making sake, and then also how to make the koji. So what we're going to want to do is fill this up with cold water. Do not do hot water. Rinse it until it's coming out clear. And then you're going to soak it for an hour. And after that hour soak, you'll put it into your little rice steamer thing here. And I got these bags to kind of keep the rice from falling through. And we're going to steam it for an hour. So this is a really important part. These are like $20 on Amazon. It's a 12-inch bamboo steamer. I can do usually about 3 pounds in here. So I'm gonna stretch it today so that way I can get all 7.5 pounds done in 2 batches. So kind of going back to that, right here we have 2.5 pounds. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of split these up a little bit, and we'll be right back with you.
1 eternity later.
So I usually just fill this up a little bit. You don't need a lot of water in here. The biggest, most important thing I can tell you guys about preparing your rice is make sure that before you add any live organisms, that being either your koji here or your yeast, that you cool it down. So we've actually put a gallon of reverse osmosis water in the fridge, cooled it down overnight, and we're going to use that to kind of rapidly cool the rice once you've cooked it. We're going to pour it out of here. You don't have to get all the water out when you're washing this. I usually just try to get most of it out, and you're going to do this over and over and over and over and over until you get clean rice. You don't need to get it perfect. The cleaner the better, but some of that dust in there has actually got, you know, stuff that the yeast and fungus like, so we don't need to get it perfect. Sake originated obviously in Japan, I hope you know, and the way that it used to work is the villagers, after harvesting their paddies, would come bring a bunch of rice back, and they would all stand around a bucket and chew on rice hulls and then spit it into the bucket, and then they'd leave it for 3-4 months, and then they had like a 4% rice wine. It sucked, but there's a lot of, you know, live bacteria and saliva that will break down this stuff. But now we do the doubling method, which is much more efficient. It allows us to get to about 15%. I've seen some sakes get up to about 24%. You're gonna pay an arm and a leg for them, but we're just gonna get that on there and keep adding water to it. You want like an inch of water above your rice the whole time, and then you'll start a clock for an hour.
1 hour later.
This is the rice again. I'm just gonna go ahead and make my life easier and go ahead and start soaking the next batch. It really doesn't matter. Some people say you can actually soak overnight. That is a lot of rice. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. We're gonna put this in now. And 7.5 pounds of rice sitting in here. And so periodically over the hour, you're gonna wanna come in and stir it up, and you're gonna get a lot of that stuff to come out. What's up, guys? We're back. We've got our rice has now finally been cooled down, so we're sitting at 84 degrees. Package says 86, so it's time to add our koji. This is 7 pounds of rice right here. pounds in as far as dry weight goes, so it's more like 10 right now. Took us about 4 hours to make this. So we're gonna open up our little Kōji pack with all of our spores. We're gonna use something kind of with a screen in it, and we're just gonna lightly dust the rice with it. For that, clean your hands, sanitize them. You're gonna mix it by hand. Gently kind of just knead it, and you're gonna mix that rice up in all that fungus. So this actually, the one I'm working right now was the newer batch, so we put it in the freezer for a little while, and that actually seemed to cool it down. Took about 40 minutes for it to cool down to, you know, below 85 degrees. So you're just gonna keep mixing it up, just like that. Keep it, you know, kind of spread out even, chunks, you know, get rid of the chunks. And you're just gonna keep coming back with your Kōji and dusting your cool rice. Again, like this, the amount of spores that we're dumping on this rice right here, like it's plenty. You just kind of want to spread out evenly. That's why the clumps will tend to grab more of it. So you just want to slowly add it, dust it. And then we'll see y'all back in a second, and we're gonna do our little inoculation chamber. This is my DIY inoculation chamber. So, kind of in this first layer, I've got one of the Pyrex dishes with these little pieces of plywood kind of going across. And then I've got another layer here of rice that's also going inside of here. The foil is kind of just to tent it, keep the moisture inside of there, keep anything from falling in. We've got a tea kettle full of water. We just boiled this. We're gonna set it, if we can, safely set it. This might not work. I might be fucked. That might work. It looks really sketchy right now. But the purpose of the tea kettle here, as you can see, steam is coming off of it. It's going to keep our environment very humid. So we're at 72. I believe the target temp here is 86. We're going to set it at 85 and put the lid on this. I'll probably put this in my bedroom, so if it gets a little warm at night, I'll be able to cool it down. I've also got a secondary thermometer here that has, I believe it's called a hygrometer on it to measure humidity. So I'll be able to put this in there, measure the humidity, make sure that it's staying moist. The biggest thing about growing fungus here is it needs to stay moist. But and you need to keep it warm. If you go over 86, you'll start to produce different proteases and amylases, which are basically like building blocks of proteins. And your fungus will start to look kind of brown and gray. You want a white fungus to cover your entire bunch of rice. It'll clump up. We're gonna leave it like this for 30 about 30 hours or so until we start getting bricks to come out, and then we're gonna go ahead and put it in the fridge. So we'll check in with y'all probably tomorrow, just to let this really take hold so I can show you kind of what's going on. But this is the DIY inoculation chamber. Like I said, you just do this and then close it up and go to sleep. Like I said, 86 degrees. If you go over that, you need to calm down. Do not use a heating pad. I tried that last year and it did not work. Conduction sucks. Just use convection, let the steam do the work for you, and leave it alone. So we'll check in later. See you guys.